Hello and welcome to this presentation. We are going to be considering how to model the structure in this video. So let us get started. At first, I will highlight all of this structure just like this, and then I right click on the keyboard and select delete options to get rid of it. So the grid line spacing as provided in the coordinates right here is from 0 in the x directions to 6 meters, all right, or 6,000 millimeters. And then in the y direction is 6,000 millimeters into two provisions, as you can see from here. Okay, so we start the modeling from the foundation. So we navigate to the concrete provision. Mind you, this is Tekla structure version 2024 we'll be using in this video. So we click on the footing right there in the drop down menu, the first option, part footing. Select it right there. So in these provisions we have the part footing as the name, and the profile is 1.2 by 1.2 right there. Then we have the material. So if you scroll down, here is the depth is 500 millimeters, and then we have the top constraint to be 0. So we are to be going by 1.2 by 1.2, and then the depth we will used 400 millimeters as the depth of our footings. So I click on the grid line intersections to place these footings in the first 4 grid line intersections successfully, after which I right click and interrupt this. Then we make progress. The next structural element is the column. I select on the column right there. If you come up here, I have the name as the column, and then the profile is 300 by 300 millimeter columns, and then the material is C30. I use this color for my column, or I can decide to change it to this successfully. If I come down, the height of the column, the top constraint is 3,000 millimeters, and then the bottom constraint is 0, which is going to be sitting right at the surface of this part footing successfully. So I pick at the grid line intersections as well to place the columns just like this. All right. Then the next structural element, we move to the slab right there. Okay, so I'll select on the slab, the first option, slab. So if I scroll up here, I have floor slab right there, and then the thickness is 200 millimeters. I will go by this settings successfully, and then I'll start to place my slab right from the surface at the top constraint of this column successfully. So I will pick from this center point just like this, and then I come over to the center point right here and picked it. Or on the other way around, I can start to pick from the edges. So I can right click and then interrupt this, selecting this provision again, pick on the slab. I will start from the side. Okay, so I'll pick all the way to the end right here. All right, and then end of this, and then I take this to the midpoint or the center point of this column. I pick right there. So I'll pick the last point, or I can just click the middle of the mouse to have it completed successfully, just like this. I right click and interrupt successfully, just like this. The next structural element is the wall that you're going to be placing on this successfully. So for us to place the wall effectively on the top of these columns, we will need to hide this reinforced concrete slab. So I will select that, right click, and then I use hide options right here. So I have this. So you can see I still have a line all around, but if you really want to see the line before you hide, you need to hold the shift key. So this line will be hidden. All right. Okay, so we make progress. I click on this panel. I select the first option right there. So the panel thickness and the height, you can see 200 by 3 meters. 3 meters by 200 right there. The same concrete grade, and then I will use this material, or I can decide to change my material to either this successfully. Okay, for this panel, I want to be placing it right at the center of this column. This point, that point. I will pick this point. Okay, this is the first point it picked. I will have to interrupt this and start the process again. I'll select the first point. It is not picking this point as I expected. Good. All right, I make progress to this point. picked it at this point. That is the center point of the column. Okay, I picked it right there. Okay, so I don't want to cover it up in this provision, so I'll just click the middle of the mouse to have it placed successfully, just like this. I right click and then interrupt. Now I just select in the view, right click and then redraw view to have my slab shown successfully, just like this. Okay, now the next thing is the steel beam on the top of this. Steel beam on the top of this. So for me to be able to place this successfully, I will have to create a construction line. Okay, so I will get to edit tab and then come to constructions, object, I pick the line options, I pick the center point of this, and then I pick the end point of that to have a construction line just like this. Then I have another construction line just like this. All right, so for me to have construction line along the center of this other end wall, I will need to create some points. All right, so I will right click interrupt that. Then I'll pick on the point. So I will use online. I pick that point. I apply this just one on this line. I pick the first point, move my hand this way, pick to have it placed right there. Come to this other end. I pick from this point, have that point placed. I have 2 points. I interrupt this and then I come to construction line. Pick that, pick the first point all the way, second point to have it just like this. Now we are good to go. I interrupt this, click on the OK options. Then come to the steel tab, click on the beam, the drop down menu, poly beam I'll be using. This is going to be my first point of this beam, or before then, I can just come here. This is already front, all right? It's already set to front. So the beam sections, I will just use this one, okay, for the sake of this presentation, all right? So the name is beam. I see all of the settings right here. So I pick out this construction line intersections right there. And I pick at that point, then this last point here. So after which I press the middle of the mouse to have the beams being placed just like this. I right click, interrupt, just like this. You can see. So with this now, I start to create a simple cycle of this structural element. So if I just select in the space, right click and redraw view, you can see the points and the construction line is up. All right, so I make progress. I will just have to select these structural elements. I will select the structural element just like this. If I hold the Alt key and select this other end to the right, just like this, this is supposed to show me a dialog here, but since I didn't see it, I'll have to do it one by one. All right, the first, I'll start from the beam. I'll select the beam, hold the Alt key, and then do a window by that side. This is what I was expecting, the shape dialog. Okay, so with this shape dialog, I navigate to the arc point and modify to have a arc just like this. I'll do the same thing for the wall. Hold the Alt key and then select it this way, and then go to this provision arc point and modify. All right, the same thing on the slab. I'll select that, hold the Alt key, and then I come to the shape provisions arc point right there, and then click on the modify. So I have this, so you can see what I'm having just like this. All right, okay, so now we need to mirror this. We need to mirror this to actually get the next the opposite of this shape to complete our model. Okay, so I will navigate to the plan view to do that, which is Ctrl P on the keyboard, plan view just like this. So I will select the first two footings right there. I hold the Ctrl key and select this member successfully. I don't want to mirror this front footing, so I will right click, come to copy, special, and then mirror options. I will use this point from this point to this point, just 2 points. You pick along grid line 2 to actually have this, and then if you click on copy, you have this successfully. Then I click on the OK option, right click, redraw view, select in this space, control, and then P to get to the 3D, just like this. Okay, so you can see we have successfully modeled this drum successfully. I call it drum, you can call it tank, but this is just like more or less the model I did for a kind of a fish pond. So it's an angular fish drone, right, that I have designed successfully. Okay, so I feel I should share it with my audience successfully, how to model this. All right, so please do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe and stay connected. We see in the next presentation. Bye for now.